بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين وعلى من تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. Tonight is the 9th of Safar and it's lesson 26 of Qasas al-Anbiya, and we are on the King's Dream.
Read, please.
The ayah?
Read first ayah, translate.
وقال الملك إني أرى 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات يا أيها الملأ أفتوني في رؤياي إن كنتم للرؤيا تعبرون قالوا. Translating into English the meanings of the Quran. And the king said, I saw 7 fat cows and 7 lean cows were devouring them. Likewise I saw 7 green ears of corn and 7 withered ones. O chiefs, explain to me my dream if you can interpret it.
Interpret it. Assalamu alaikum. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. The class tonight is about the king vision. For verily, we know for a fact that the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam, he saw a vision at the beginning of this surah, and that vision was the reason for his trials. And then a vision is being seen and he interpreted, which was in the dreams that indicate the beginning of the ease. And now this is a vision seen by the king which will indicate the start of the ease. So first vision, that when he saw 11 stars and the sun and the moon prostrating before him, that was the start of his trials. Because of that vision he's been thrown in the well. Because of that vision he became a slave. Because of that vision, that woman, she seduced him. And then in the prison, he had seen a vision, somebody seen a vision, and he interpreted those visions, and that was an indicating of this ease to getting close. But now this vision, which has been seen by the king, is the vision which will be the reason for his coming out from the prison. So this is the start of the first minha instead of mihna. Mihna means the trial. Minha means the ease. The first gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and honoring to the Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam. In Silsila Sahih of Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah, Hadith 1945, he says, عجبت لصبر أخي يوسف وكرمه. I'm amazed to the patience of my brother Yusuf and his generosity. Wallahu yaghfirullah, and Allah will forgive for it. حيث أرسل إليه ليستفتى في الرؤيا. He was sent to him in order to give his verdict and its interpretation for the ru'ya which is the vision. ولو كنت أنا لم أفعل حتى أخرج. And it was me, Prophet was saying, I will not tell the interpretation until I come out. See, this vision of the king is a vision which is, as I said, the start of the ease and the coming out of the prison. Yusuf alayhi salam is going to be interpreting it later on. And Yusuf alayhi salam had interpreted straight away without any hesitation, and he did not say, first let me go out and I'll interpret it. وَعَجِبْتُ لِصَبْرِهِ وَكَرَمِهِ. And I'm amazed also to his patience and his honor, generosity. وَاللَّهُ يَغْفِرُ لَهُ, and Allah will forgive for him. أُتِيَ لِيَخْرُجْ was because somebody was sent for him to come out. He did not come out until he had told him what he wants, what his excuse is. And if it was me, I would have just come to the gate and come out. Let's go to the vision now. This is from the fadl of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a vision. It's been seen by a king. And this king is a disbeliever. He's not a believer. To show you even, by the way, this is not really, it's very, very low. You have to swallow it in order. Just a bit higher. It was before, it was okay. Is that right? So basically, the kuffar or the disbelievers can see visions and see dreams. And those dreams, they have interpretations as well. So the vision was seen by a disbeliever, a king. What was that vision? Which terrified the king. He had seen 7 weak, thin cows attacking and devouring 7 fat ones. And he had seen 7, what is that called? What is that? 7?
Green ears.
Huh?
Ears of corn.
Ears of corn. Ears of corn, is that right? Translation. So 7 ears of corn, which is green. No, not green. This is one, the Abi said, which is dry, had devoured the one which is green. So something which is weak had basically overwhelmed something which is strong. And it looks like the king had seen it a number of times. The reason behind this, he said, Inni ara sab'a waqarat. He didn't say Inni ra'ayt. Ra'ayt means I have seen. Inni ara, I am seeing. It's like he's actually very close to the vision. And he remembers it very well. Inni ara sab'a baqaratin siman. I am seeing it. I'm close to the vision. And I'm seeing that number of times. It's coming to mind. It's something which is strange and odd. إني أرى 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر. And also 7 green ear corns, is that right? And I've seen those as well, the one which is dry overwhelming the one which is green. يا أيها الملأ. O Mala. Mala means the people who are around, from the sorcerers, from the people who are the ministers, from the scholars, from the, you could call them rabbis or priests. أيها الملأ, the ones who are highly ranked. أفتوني في رؤياي. You are the scholars. Give me your interpretation regarding my vision. So it actually made the king very concerned. إن كنتم للرؤيا تعبرون. If you are people who are able to interpret the dreams. So, قال. Yes?
They said,
no, read the Quran. قالوا.
قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين.
Translation.
They said, these are just confused dreams and we know nothing of the interpretation of dreams.
Right. So these people who are around the king, they said, أضغاث أحلام. These are not, something to be interpreted. Adghaf, like, if you eat kebab, you're going to dream about kebab. That's what it means. وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَلِمِينَ. And we are not people who are going to be interpreting something which is not worth interpretation. In this statement, which is the verse of the Quran, those people had attributed to themselves 3 things. Number 1, ignorance. They are ignorance. Number 2, that قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما, they have spoke without knowledge. So they are ignorant, and probably ignorance, you're making fatwa and you have no knowledge. Number 3, they're giving great credit to themselves. They're saying that, basically we are sure that what you are seeing is not worth interpretation. So they are attributing to themselves something which they are not fit for, which is they're not people of interpretation. So they are giving credits to themselves. So these 3 things in that statement. قالوا أضغاث أحلام وما نحن بتأويل الأحلام بعالمين. نعم. كانوا تقول له بس الأخ يعلي الصوت شوية. ما هو عالي. It's okay, but mine is not okay. I don't know why. تفضل.
وقال الذي نجا منهما وذكر بعد أمة أنا أنبئكم بتأويله فأرسلوا. Then said the one who had been released, who remembered after a long time, I will inform you of its interpretation, so send me forth.
Right. If you remember, there's two people were with Yusuf alayhi salam. They were in the prison. One of them seen a vision that he was giving a drink for his master, and the other one, he had seen himself holding on top of his head like bread, and the bird is eating from it. So he gave them the interpretation. One of them is going to be killed, and the other one is going to be, extracting and giving a drink to his master. And he said to one of them, who's the one whom he thinks is the one who's going to be the one who's been saved, that remember me, mention me to the king. That means he knows that this guy is going to be getting away. وَقَالَ الَّذِي نَجَى مِنْهُمَا. So he said to the one who had been saved, اذكرني عند ربك. Don't forget to mention me before your Lord. That means before your master, the king. To mention that I am being imprisoned in oppression, injustice. But the man had forgotten. فَلَبِثَ فِي السِّجْنِ بِضْعَ سِنِينَ. We have said بِضْعَ سِنِينَ is up to, some of the scholars said, remember, 7 years, some of them said, but bid'a is up to 10 years. So he had forgotten. Now, when this person had seen with himself, that the interpretation of Yusuf alayhi salam was 100%, he was saved. His partner, remember the one who was the chef, was being killed. He's seen that interpretation, and it's been fulfilled 100%. He dared himself, even though he's a waiter. He dared himself, and he had remembered. He remembered after بعد أمة. Ummah means number of days, number of years. And even some of the recitation of this بعد أمة. أمة means after he forgotten. So there's two ways of doing this word. Ummah and أمة. So أنا أنبئكم بتأويله فأرسلوا. I will tell you with its interpretation, just send me. Look at that. This is a confident waiter to stand before the king, where he's got his scholars, who had said about the dream of this king, these are rubbish dreams, this is rubbish, it's not really a dream worth interpretation. He stands up and he says, no, this is proper dream. I will inform you of its interpretation. Do you understand? Imagine it's a waiter now, and he's with full confidence to say that I will tell you about it. You're gonna get the interpretation of it. SubhanAllah. That shows that man, because he had seen how Yusuf alayhi salam in the prison, and he had interpreted a number of things and dreams, he was so confident that Yusuf will not let him down. He was so confident that he will give him the correct interpretation. So he said, just send me and I will give you the interpretation, even though his scholars and the sorcerers and all of them, we can't really interpret such something which is not really a proper dream. What are you talking about? About 7 fat cows and 7 thin cows and dry corn and ear corns and green ear corns. What is that? Now, just send me there. So, he's being sent. Now, Yusuf. There is something there which is, the Arabs, they don't like too much things, too many talks. Just get on to the point. Get on to the point. So, from the word send me, there is what? Yusuf, read.
يوسف أيها الصديق أفتنا في 7 بقرات سمان.
لا
في 7 بقرات سمان يأكلهن 7 عجاف و7 سنبلات خضر وأخرى يابسات لعلي أرجع إلى الناس لعلهم يعلمون. O truthful Yusuf, expound to us the dream of 7 fat cows which 7 lean ones devoured, and 7 green ears and 7 others dry, that I might return to the people that they may know.
Right. So there is now a cut, send me, and then he says Yusuf. He didn't say he come out, and then he went to the prison, he knocked, and then he went inside. All of that is being taken away. Because we want the what? The important thing. Get on to the point. And that's what the Arabs, so there is here اختزال in Arabic. Everything has been فأرسلون, and then he said Yusuf. It's like he left the king, he went and he took permission to enter the prison. I want to talk to Yusuf. Where is he? They brought Yusuf to him. He was talking to him. Do you understand that? All of that's been taken because it's not important. It's not important. Yusuf, أيها الصديق, oh truthful, Siddiq. And the Siddiq we have from the prophets, Yusuf alayhi salam. And from the people, Siddiq al-Akbar, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, after the prophets. He didn't say أيها الصادق. What is the difference between Siddiq and Sadiq? Sadiq is truthful, but a Siddiq is an upper grade. And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, وَإِنَّ الرَّجُلَ لَا يَصْدُقُ وَيَتَحَرَّى الصِّدْقَ حَتَّى يُكْتَبَ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ صِدِّيقًا. The person would say the truth, and he will strive to always say the truth until he will be recorded with the Almighty Siddiq. So this is Yusuf alayhi salam. It's not just truthful, he strives to be truthful. And every time he's truthful, doesn't hesitate to say the truth. That's why he called him أيها الصديق, not أيها الصادق. أيها الصديق, أفتنا, give us a fatwa, interpret for us, give us the answer to this question. And then he told him the dream of the king. 7 fat cows being devoured, being eaten by 7 lean, is that lean cows? Yeah, like what, thin or weak ones. And also 7 green acorns.
Ears of corn.
Huh?
Ears of corn.
Ears of corn, which are being, and others which are dry, yes? But actually being devoured by the dry ones. لعلي, maybe. He said, maybe. Why is it maybe? لعلي, maybe. أرجع إلى الناس, go back to the people. That means go to the king. لعلي أرجع إلى الناس, maybe. Because he's not 100% sure. Maybe Yusuf alayhi salam is going to say like those scholars and the sorcerers who were around the king, that this is adghath wa ahlam, this is like not proper dreams. Maybe. Okay? So maybe. So I'm not sure. And he says, لعلهم يعلمون. Maybe they will know. يعلمون what? لعلهم يعلمون, either they will know the interpretation of the dream, or لعلهم يعلمون, they will know your innocence. That you're innocent and you've been locked up wrongly. So it's 2 interpretations here. لعلي أرجع إلى الناس, maybe go to the people, maybe because maybe he will not tell them the right interpretation. Maybe he would say that this is not, so he might be not right interpretation. Maybe he will decline to tell them because of they are adghath ahlam, they are not really the proper dreams. So Yusuf alayhi salam, he never said, after you've done this to me, you've forgotten to mention me to the king, and you king throw me in the prison for no reason, and you're asking me to interpret such a dream? Do you understand? And that's what the Prophet ﷺ, he said, Ajibtu, I was amazed for the patience of my brother Yusuf and his generosity, and may Allah forgive him. He's been sent to him to go and give his interpretation regarding the vision, and if it was me, I will not tell them the interpretation until I come out. And that's who's saying that? Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. I will not tell them the interpretation until I come out. But Yusuf, he told them, and he's still locked up. Amazing. Okay, he's not in a, you know, he's in a place now to bargain. Okay, I will tell you, but get me out. Allahu Akbar. So his patience and his generosity is generous. He told him. Then he says, تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَأَبًا. And he gave the interpretation. We're going to go to it, inshallah, in details. He gave the interpretation. Did he give the wrong interpretation? Did he lie to them? We give him the truth. And it happened exactly as he said. What does that tell us? First of all, the king and the ones who are the people there, believers or disbelievers? Disbelievers. Yusuf alayhi salam, either he's a prophet before he entered the prison, or he's a prophet in the prison. He's a prophet already. Either he got the prophethood before he entered the prison, or he had got the prophethood inside the prison. Yet he told them the truth. This tells us these people who live in the non-Muslim country, you know, I could con the non-Muslims. I could lie to the non-Muslims. I could, you know, if I have a chance, I will con him and take whatever I want. I could lie and cheat him because he's a non-Muslim. A'udhu billah. See here, Yusuf alayhi salam, prophet, Muslim. And he's dealing with non-Muslims. He gave them, you know, to be honest. You have to be honest, Akhi. You have to be honest. So the Prophet Yusuf gave them the correct, everything which is right. He said, تَزْرَعُونَ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ دَابٍ. You will plant. Go on, read.
Translation.
Shall I read the Quran? قال تزرعون سبع سنين دأبا فما حصدتم فذروه في سنبله إلا قليلا مما تأكلون. Go.
He said, for 7 years you shall sow continuously. Then what you reap of the harvest, leave it on the ear, except a little whereof you eat.
And the ear, what is the ear? Means like the stem itself. Okay. ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك سبع شداد يأكلن ما قدمتم لهم إلا قليلا مما تحصنون.
Then thereafter there shall come upon you 7 hard years in which you shall devour all that you have reserved from them, except a little you keep it in store.
ثم يأتي من بعد ذلك عام فيه يغاث الناس وفيه يعصرون.
Then there shall come after that a year in which the people have rain and in which they press wine.
Fine. This is now the interpretation of the dream. Right. I'm going to go into it as well in details, but let me ask you to read some of Ibn Kathir, what he says. No. Everything that's from the beginning. Follow.
This dream of the king was the main reason for Yusuf to come out of the prison in full honor and dignity. The Bible says about this dream, the king had a dream that while he was standing by the river Nile, there came out of it 7 fat cows and grazed among the reeds. After the 7 other cows, ugly and gaunt, came out of the river and stood beside those on the riverbanks. Then they turned towards the fat cows and ate them up. The king woke up and was terrified. He then slept again and had a second dream. He saw 7 green ears of corn grown on a single stalk. After them 7 other ears of corn, thin and scorched, which swallowed up those 7 green ears of corn. He woke up and felt terrified. That's in the Bible, Genesis 41. When the king narrated his dream to his ministers, the people, he found no one who could interpret it for him.
Okay. The king of Egypt, we don't know if he's from the pharaohs or from the other, could be one of the pharaohs, you know, pharaohs of the kings of Egypt, they come. Later we're going to come to Pharaoh of Musa alayhi salam, the time of Musa. Now, go ahead. So what they said?
Rather they said, these are just confused dreams. And dreams such as these have no interpretation. However, we have no knowledge of the interpretation of dreams, and we know nothing of the interpretation of dreams. Here the one who was freed and who was the cupbearer came to remember Yusuf and his request to mention him to the king, which he had forgotten. It was, however, Allah's will and wisdom that he forgot it. When the man heard of the king's dream and found that no one could interpret it, he remembered Yusuf. Then said the one who had been released, who remembered after a long time. He said, I will inform you of the interpretation, so send me forth. O truthful...
So we said how the confidence of this man, he said, I will tell you. Because he had seen the interpretation of his dream, the interpretation when he was in the prison, interpretation of the dream of his partner, and he's being fulfilled. So he's seen that. So he was 100% sure. What was happening to the microphone? Nothing? They couldn't do anything? It was really, it's really low, very low. You can't hear it.
Why do you swap over
and I swap it, he can't really talk properly. You know. This is what I am a loud voice, he's got no voice. Yeah, okay, inshallah. But it was really good last week. Was nobody there?
Well, he said they unplugged the computer system that controls.
Okay, inshallah. Never mind. It annoys me kind of go like that. It doesn't work like that. Allah understand. Go ahead. People.
O truthful Yusuf, expound to us the dream of the 7 fat cows which 7 lean ones devoured, and 7 green ears and 7 others dry, that I might return to the people that they may know. Yusuf told him the interpretation of the dream without any condition or delay from what Allah had taught him. He said that there will be 7 years of good and healthy harvest, followed by 7 years of drought and famine. Then there shall come after that a year in which the people have rain, and in which they will press wine. People will have a good harvest, abundance of rain and food, and will produce juice of grapes, olive, and of other fruits. He gave him the interpretation and showed him what to do. He also told him what steps should be taken in both times of abundance and famine. He said to them that they should store all the grains of the first 7 years in their ears except what they ate. They should also sow a small amount of seeds in the second 7 years, because it probably would not grow due to the shortage of rain, so it would be a waste of the grains. This showed the understanding and wisdom which he had been granted by Allah.
Right. Basically, Yusuf alayhi salam interpreted a dream to this messenger, which is the waiter. He said to them, you will plant 7 years continuously. Whatever you harvest, leave it in the ears. It means leave it in its stem, leave it in its place. Why? Because it will be more protected. The damp will not reach it. When you leave it, leave the fruit in the branch, it will be staying for a bit more time. Because as soon as you take it out from the mother, from the branch, it will not last for a long time. So leave it in it. Okay? Except for what you eat. Whatever you eat, you take it. But what you don't eat, leave it there stored. And after that, there will be 7 hard years, which is famine. This one will start to make you to consume what you have saved in the first previous 7 years, which was essence ears. Okay? So it will start to take from that. Now that's understandable, because you've got 7 cows which are thin, attacking, and 7 which are strong, and 7 dry, the ears of the corn, are devouring, taking the 7 of the green ones. That's understandable. But what is this coming from? The last one. Then after that there will be a year in which the people, he said rain, there's no rain here, he says yughath. Yughath means they will be giving the help. Al-Ghaith is not just the rain, no, it could be, because life is rain plus, it's not just rain, because the rain could be disaster, it could be flood. It could be raining onto a land where there is no crops. Al-Ghaith is a rain which will bring what? Crops. Yughath an-nas. People will be helped in that year. I'm asking, where is that linked to the 7 cows and the 7 green? Do you understand that? Where? The scholars have said other than the 2. Either this is Allah's inspiration to Yusuf alayhi salam, or this is from the knowledge of dream interpretation. As I said to you last week, dream interpretation is a knowledge. Allah gives it to some people, gift. So you need to relate a dream to somebody who is a person gifted with that, and he's got the knowledge. He will give you something that is not even linked to that. Okay? So, if you remember with me, as I said here a long time ago, Ibn Sirin, he's one of the great scholars of interpretation. And there's a book which is attributed to him which is not authentic, dream interpretation. And that there was a person came to him and he said that I see myself calling the adhan in my dreams. He said, you'll do Hajj. Another person was known to be a wicked person, evil. He said, verily, I see myself calling adhan in my dreams. He says, you're going to steal and your hand's going to be cut off. It's the same dream, two different interpretations. When he was asked about it, he said, when that person came, the good one, and he said, I saw myself calling the adhan in my dreams, I remembered the ayah when Allah says to Ibrahim alayhi salam, وَأَذِّن فِي النَّاسِ بِالْحَجِّ يَأْتُوكَ رِجَالًا وَعَلَى كُلِّ ضَامِرٍ. Call the adhan so the people will come to make the hajj. That's why I interpret with the hajj. But when that evil person, wicked person came to me and he said that I saw myself calling the adhan in my dreams, came to my mind, وَأَذَّنَ مُؤَذِّنٌ أَيَّتُهَا الْعِيرُ إِنَّكُمْ لَسَارِقُونَ. And a caller was calling, adhan, that, oh people, you are thieves, إِنَّكُمْ لَسَارِقُونَ. Which is in Surah Yusuf, we're going to be coming to it, inshallah. So the interpretation of the dreams is a knowledge, it's a gift. There's nothing linked with this 1 year to the 7 and the 7. Where did he get it from? This is the knowledge and interpretation. Abu Bakr tried to interpret a dream to somebody. Prophet ﷺ said, you were correct in some, you hit the target, and you were wrong in some. Abu Bakr did not interpret the dreams properly. You were right. He said, Messenger of Allah, I make an oath upon you to tell me where I have gone wrong. He said, don't make an oath upon me, and I'm not going to tell you. Okay? I'm not going to tell you. So it's a vision, knowledge, Allah gives it to gift. Yes, you could learn, but it's a gift from Allah Azza wa Jal. Then he says, there will be a year where people will get ghawth. Prophet ﷺ, he said, ليس السنة أن تمطر ولكن السنة أن تمطر وتمطر ثم لا تنبت الأرض شيئا. The drought is not that you don't have rain. No. The drought and the famine, you have rain and rain, and you're watching the rain, and yet the land produces nothing. That's the famine. Do you understand me? So the people seeing the rain, but there is no crops. That's the famine. So here yughaf means the rain with abundance and bounty, abundance of mashallah crops. Then he says, وَفِيهِ يَعْصِرُونَ. Ya'sirun got two interpretations. Ya'sirun, which is the interpretation you just heard. That is, Ya'sirun mean they're gonna, what is it that he said?
Press wine.
Press wine and press from the sesame seeds and all of that. Press from the olives. And imagine, you get lots of fruits to press from. Or وَفِيهِ يَعْصِرُونَ is the Ya'sirun that means you're gonna have rain. That's the rain coming from, which is وَأَنزَلْنَا مِنَ الْمُعْصِرَاتِ مَاءً ثَجَّاجًا. Allah calls mu'sirat. So Ya'sirun means from the what? From the rain. So that's where the rain comes from. There's two interpretations here for this. Right. So in this verse, in these verses that we mentioned, وَقَالَ الْمَلِكِ, until the interpretation, you could see here, as I said, the start of the gift and the blessings of Allah upon Yusuf alayhi salam. Now, look at that. Basically, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made the king to see the dream. Why? To know everybody would know who had interpreted. It's not the wife of the king, nor just the person who came from the door, knocked on the king. I've seen a vision, serving cows and all that. It's not going to be important. It's the king. So everybody knows about this dream of the king. Number two, that we find here that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, from his blessings upon Yusuf and his favors, that he made the king to relay this vision onto his scholars, the ones who are sorcerers around him first, and then they admitted that they are unable to interpret it because it's not fit to be interpreted. True? Okay. Because if you could just had seen the vision, and then this person said, okay, I'll tell you, without asking, and then this person will go to Yusuf alayhi salam, you get the interpretation back, and then he will tell it to the king, and the king see, look, this is the interpretation. The sorcerer would have said, well, we would have said the same thing, the same thing. We could have told you the same thing. Why did you go to him? But first, they admitted their what? Incapability. Can't. It's exactly what we have seen in the story of Adam alayhi salam, if you remember. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he spoke about the angels, أَتَجْعَلُ فِيهَا مَنْ يُفْسِدُ فِيهَا وَيَسْفِكُ الدِّمَاء وَنَحْنُ نُسَبِّحُ بِحَمْدِكَ وَنُقَدِّسُ لَكَ. Oh Lord, how can you make somebody to govern the land who's going to spill the blood and spread corruption, and we are glorifying your name? قَالَ إِنِّي أَعْلَمُ وَلَا تَعْلَمُ. I know what you don't know, Allah said. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. First, sorry, I'm worried about the computer. Let's see. They said it is waterproof. That's a test. I don't know if it's milk proof. Milk proof? Okay. Alhamdulillah. Right. Jazakallah khair. وَعَلَّمَ آدَمَ الْأَسْمَاءَ كُلَّهَا. And he taught Allah, Adam, all the names. ثُمَّ عَرَضَهُمْ عَلَى الْمَلَائِكَةِ. Then he asked the angels first, bring me the names. Tell me about the names of these things. قَالُوا سُبْحَانَكَ لَا عِلْمَ لَنَا إِلَّا مَا عَلَّمْتَنَا إِنَّكَ أَنْتَ الْعَلِيمُ. You don't know anything except what you have taught us. So he showed that they are incapable. Then, وَقَالَ يَا آدَمْ أَنْبِئُهُمْ بِأَسْمَائِهِمْ. Now you tell them. So he didn't tell them first to Adam, tell the names before he asked the angel. He asked the angel to show that they are not knowledgeable. This is the governor who you told that he's going to spread corruption. He knows something that you don't know. So he showed them what? He showed that they are not like him. He is better. Also in the hadith of Shafa'ah, when the people come out, going to ask for the earthquake to stop, the sun is coming very close, they didn't go to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam straight away. And everybody knows that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is what? Is the best of mankind. Didn't go to him. Allah made them to go to Adam. Then after that, to Nuh. Then after that, to Ibrahim. After that, to Musa. After that, to Isa. Then the last one, to show the what? The excellence. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because if, hadith was said, and they went to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam and he said, yeah, I'm fit for it, I will intercede. Others would say, well, if they went as well to Adam, he would intercede. If they went to Musa, he would have interceded. If they went, but to show that none of them couldn't intercede. Except for the Prophet. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is the only one who was able to intercede. So this is show. Again, this is as well to show that these people are not capable. And to show the excellence of Yusuf. So the king is seeing the vision. Number two, that none of these people were able. They presented their ignorance. And I said the three things there when they said the state, قَالُوا أَضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ وَمَا نَحْنُ بِتَأْوِيلِ الْأَحْلَامِ بِعَالِمِينَ. There's three things in it. Their ignorance, they've made fatwa without knowledge. And number three, they credited themselves with something they have no idea about it. They said, well, these are أضْغَاثُ أَحْلَامٍ, confused dreams. They have no knowledge to say confused dreams anyway. And they attribute that as well as saying that we are not able to interpret confused dream, but we are able to interpret which are not confused. Do you understand them? I don't know. They're attributing to something to themselves which are not fit for it. Fine. We finish with alhamdulillah from this, and then Prophet Yusuf alayhi salam had now helped them, isn't it? He had helped them, Yusuf alayhi salam, that is, he helped them to do what is supposed to be the right thing when these things happens. Okay? And he told them how to preserve the wealth. Okay? So, first 7 years, save what you want to save in the ears of the corn. Yes? And then after that, when you have the seventh thing, eat what you have preserved. And you save. And then after that, the year which will be the year of ease. And here Yusuf alayhi salam has told them how to preserve the wealth. And all the time, scholars, as they say, the sharia comes to preserve 5 things all the time. The wealth, the self, and the honor, and the deen. So again, self, protect how to protect yourself, and how to protect the wealth, and how to protect the honor, which is the lineage, and how to protect the deen, and the fifth one, how to protect the aql, the intellect. All shara'i, all legislations came from the Almighty to preserve what? Those 5 things. But now we're going to come to the following, which is, we just need to go back because the milk had made it to go forward. Now the innocence of Yusuf alayhi salam, yes?
Yeah.
Follow.
It's an ayah.
وقال الملك ائتوني به فلما جاءه الرسول قال ارجع إلى ربك فاسأله ما بال النسوة اللاتي قطعن أيديهن إن ربي بكيدهن عليم.
And the king said, bring him to me. So when the emissary came to him, he said, go back to your master and ask him what was the case of women who cut their hands. Surely my Lord is all-knowing of their guile.
And this is where the Prophet ﷺ, which is the authentic hadith, or Shaykh al-Albani is the authentic, if I stayed as many years as Yusuf ﷺ stayed, and this person came to me to come out, I would have come out. I wouldn't say to him, go back, I'm not going to come out and tell my innocence to be what? To be shown to everybody, clearly. Prophet ﷺ, if I stayed the number of years that Yusuf ﷺ stayed, and somebody to come to me and tell me, okay, come out. Now the king says, I would have come out. This is what the Prophet said, عَجِبْتُ بِصَبْرِ أَخِي Yusuf. I am amazed for the patience and the generosity of my brother Yusuf. بِصَبْرِهِ وَكَرَمِهِ. رحم الله Yusuf. May Allah have mercy upon Yusuf. When he was called, Prophet said, when he was called to come out, he did not accept. Even if it was me, I would have accepted. That means Yusuf alayhi salam is patient, so patient. Of course he's not better than the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but it shows you the patience that Yusuf alayhi salam had. Now, further, then he says, قال ما خطبكن إذ راوتن يوسف عن نفسه قلنا حاشا لله ما علمنا عليه من سوء قالت امرأة العزيز الآن حصحص الحق أنا راودته عن نفسه وإنه لمن الصادقين ذلك ليعلم أني لم أخنه بالغيب وأن الله لا يهدي كيد الخائنين وما أبرئ نفسي إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي إن ربي غفور رحيم. Translate all of that, please.
The king said to the women, what was your affair when you seduced Yusuf? They said, God forbid, we knew no evil from him. The minister's wife said, now the truth shall come to light. I solicited him, and surely he is a truthful man. Thus he should know that I did not betray him in his absence, and Allah guides not the guile of the treacherous. Yet I do not claim that my soul was innocent. Indeed, the soul inclines to evil, unless my Lord bestows his mercy. Surely my Lord is all forgiving, all merciful.
Read. What's the implication?
When the king came to discover the knowledge of Yusuf and his wisdom and discretion, he commanded for him to be brought into his presence so he could be included within his private circle of distinctive people. When the messenger came to him with this order, he preferred not to come out of the prison till the people knew that he was imprisoned unjustly and with no crime, and that he was innocent of the indecency they had accused him of. He said, go back to your master, meaning the king, and ask him what was the case of the women who cut their hands. Surely my Lord is all-knowing of their guile. It is said that it means that my Lord knows of my innocence with what I am accused of. So go and ask the king to ask the women whether I resisted their wild seduction or not, and their incitement of me to commit the indecency which carried no decency or discretion. When the women were inquired about their behavior, they confessed their wrong intentions and his innocence and resistance and said, God forbid, we know no evil from him.
Look at as well the confidence of Yusuf alayhi salam. He said, let the king ask about these women who have cut their hands. For my Lord, inna Rabbi bikaydihinna alim. My Lord here is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or my Lord, which is the king, the master of it, Al-Aziz. He knows what they've been doing, plotting. Because all of them, they made this conspiracy and they made this plotting to put Yusuf alayhi salam inside the prison. You remember, to save himself from the scandal. Because all of them, they know that Yusuf alayhi salam did not do anything. He was innocent. So his confidence of Yusuf alayhi salam, that let the king and ask them, they might lie. True or not? They might say, no, he was after us. But he was confident. The confidence here is from the Almighty subhanahu wa ta'ala. It will be given to Yusuf alayhi salam that these women, they will not say except for the truth. So when they were asked, they did not ask the wife of Al-Aziz, he asked the woman, the one who said, Hasha lillah, God forbid, how can be a human being? He's an angel. أكبرنه وقطعنا أيديهم وقلنا حاشا لله ما هذا بشر, can't be a human being. إن هذا إلا ملك كريم. So they said straight away that he's innocent. Go ahead.
Here the minister's wife spoke up and said,
this is the one who called her Zlecha. Allahu a'lam, her name is Zlecha. الآن حصحص الحق. نعم.
Now the truth shall come to light. I solicited him, and surely he is a truthful man. His claim is true, and he never tried to seduce me, and that he was imprisoned unjustly and wrongly. Thus he should know that I did not betray him in his absence, and Allah guides not the guile of the treacherous. It is said that it was Yusuf who said it, meaning that I wanted this inquiry to be carried out so that her husband should know that I did not betray him in his absence.
And that is a weak interpretation. Second one, which is the stronger one, and this is the continuation of what the wife of Al-Aziz said. That is?
In another opinion, it is suggested that it was said by minister's wife, meaning I have confessed about this incident so that my husband may know that I did not betray him in his absence.
That means I did not commit the fornication. It was just a try, but it didn't happen. I did not betray him in. So there's not the gone.
It was only an act of seduction which was not followed by any act of indecency. This opinion is preferred by many of the later scholars, while Ibn Jarir has mentioned only the former one.
Okay, so that this is the last one is being, as I said, championed by a number of scholars. Now, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. Go on.
Yet I do not claim that my soul was innocent. Indeed, the soul inclines towards evil unless my Lord bestows His mercy.
And this verse makes it more powerful to say, this is the wife of Al-Aziz said it, not Prophet Yusuf. Now, it was said. Continue.
Surely my Lord is all forgiving, all merciful. Whose speech is this, Yusuf or the minister's wife? The latter is stronger than the former opinion.
Because it depends upon what you interpret the previous verse. If you interpret Yusuf, then it's Yusuf. If it's the wife of Al-Aziz, it continues the wife of Al-Aziz. It's the correct opinion, wife of Al-Aziz. Because Yusuf, I said, he can't say, وَمَا أُبَرِّئُ نَفْسِي. I can't make myself innocent. He's a prophet. So it is from the saying of the wife of Al-Aziz, Wallahu A'lam. And then now, Yusuf alayhi salam, we're going to go to the palace. Follow.
Yusuf as a minister.
He's going to be into the king palace. وقال الملك ائتوني به أستخلصه لنفسي فلما كلمه قال إنك اليوم لدينا مكين أمين.
And the king said, bring him to me, I shall employ him for myself. Then when he spoke to him, the king said, surely today you have a firm and secure position with me.
قال اجعلني على خزائن الأرض إني حفيظ عليم.
He said, set me in charge of the land's treasuries, and I am a knowledgeable keeper.
وكذلك مكنا ليوسف في الأرض يتبوأ منها حيث يشاء نصيب برحمتنا من نشاء ولا نضيع أجر المحسنين ولا أجر الآخرة خير للذين آمنوا وكانوا يتقون. 2 verses.
And thus did we firmly establish Yusuf in the land with authority to do therein as he pleased. We bestow our mercy upon whomsoever we please, and believe not to waste the reward of the good doers. And certainly the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believe and are always pious.
Go on.
When it all became clear to the king, the chastity and innocence of Yusuf, he said, "Bring him to me, I shall employ him for myself. I shall make him of my inner circle of distinguished people and the grandees and notables." When he was brought to him and he had discussed with him regarding some matters, he was impressed and said to him, "Surely today you have a firm and secure position with me." He said, "Set me in charge of the lands, treasuries, and I am a knowledgeable keeper." Yusuf asked to be appointed as in charge of the country's storehouses, as he expected the severe famine after 7 years. He wanted to take care of the people at that time. Yusuf described himself as being good at keeping and administration. This verse is a clear evidence to seek power and control if one knows of himself of being competent and trustworthy.
Well, we need to discuss this basically, which is to ask to be positioned, to be in charge. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, تِلْكَ الدَّارُ الْآخِرَةِ نَجْعَلُهَا لِلَّذِينَ لَا يُرِيدُونَ عُلُوًّا فِي الْأَرْضِ وَلَا فَسَادًا وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ. This hereafter, we give it to those people who do not want to be high in this land, to ask for position. Also the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ who said to Abdurrahman ibn Samurah, do not ask for leadership, do not ask to lead. فَإِنَّكَ, for verily, if you've been given that without asking, then you would be helped. But if you have asked for it, then nobody will help you. You will be on your own. So if you've been given to that position without you asking for it, they will help you with it. But if you ask for it, nobody will help you. Also the Prophet ﷺ, he said to Abu Dhahr, who had asked the Messenger of Allah, he said, Messenger of Allah, aren't you going to employ me? Put me in charge of something. So he put the Prophet his hand on the shoulders of Abu Dhahr with a tap. He tapped on it. He said, Abu Dhahr, you are weak. It means weakened body, weakened personality, weak. And this is a trust. And on the day of resurrection, it's going to be coming as disgrace and regret, except for those who have taken this position, this leadership, with its right. And he had fulfilled his duty towards it. Ya Abu Dhahr, O Abu Dhahr, I could see that you are weak. And I would love for you what I love for myself. To not be in leadership of two, just not one, two people. No more than that. Do not be leader of two, or even more of course. And do not be a leader or in charge of the orphan wealth. And this is in Sahih Imam Muslim. Also we find Auf ibn Malik, Prophet ﷺ said, for verily if you wish I will tell you about the leadership and what is it all about. He said, yes, Messenger of Allah, what is it all about? He said, the beginning of this leadership is blame, and then after that, second, that is regret, and then the third one, torment on the day of resurrection, except for the one who was just. This is Sahih Targhib of Shaykh al-Albani rahimahullah. So the Prophet ﷺ, why did he told us not to ask for the leadership? Because it's a big responsibility, and you're going to be asked for it on the day of resurrection. Prophet ﷺ, he said, any person who is in charge of 10 people or more, except that he will come to Allah cuffed and chained, his hand to his neck, that nothing will untie him except for his justice, or he will be kept like this because of his tyranny. So the beginning of it is, as I said, a blame, the middle of it is regret, and the last of it is disgrace on the day of resurrection. So كلكم راع وكلكم مسؤول عن رعيته. All you shepherds and every shepherd will be responsible of the sheep he's in charge of the flock he's in charge of. So how can we combine between this and between what the Prophet Yusuf ﷺ, he said, اجعلني على خزائن الأرض, make me to be the treasurer. The reason behind this, first of all, Yusuf is a prophet, so he is infallible. Also, Prophet Yusuf, he's the one who interpreted the dream, and he could see that he had asked for the position where he will be in charge of fulfilling that dream. If you understand? Because he will be in charge of keeping the green corns and all of that. So he'll be in charge of the treasury. Treasury means here that where the food is going to be kept. So there is huge difference between Yusuf alayhi salam and another person. Abu Hanifa rahimahullah, at the time of the Khalifa al-Abbasi, Mansour, he asked him to be a judge. He didn't ask for a judge, to be a judge. He said, I'm not fit to be a judge. He is the highest qualified, in terms of knowledge-wise, in that time. Highest qualified person. He said, be a judge. He said, I'm not fit to be a judge. Wallahi, so the king, the Khalif said, Wallahi, you're going to be a judge. He said, you are Khalifa, you're able to fulfill your oath. Okay, to expiate your oath. For me, I'm not fit for it. I'm not fit for that judge. So he said to him, you are a liar. He said, Alhamdulillah. How can be a liar, judge? I'm not fit. Alhamdulillah. So these people, they don't ask for leadership at all. Okay? Yusuf alayhi salam is different. طيب. Also, Yusuf alayhi salam, he said, Inni hafidun alim. I am hafid, alim. Hafid, trustworthy. Alim, knowledgeable. So he gave tazkiyah to himself. He praised himself. And Allah Azza wa Jalla, he says, فَلَا تُزَكُّوا أَنفُسَكُمْ. We talked about that last week, yes? Yes? Yes. But this is, as I said, is a prophet. He is a prophet. طيب. We stop here. And inshallah we'll continue with the interpretation of what Ibn Kathir had said. Just read.
The Bible says, the king took Yusuf in high admiration and made him in charge of the whole land of Egypt. He gave his signet ring to Yusuf and dressed him in the robes of fine silk and put a gold chain around his neck. He had him ride on another chariot, and men shouted before him, make way. He said, Yusuf, I am Pharaoh, but without your word, no one will lift hand or foot in all of Egypt. Yusuf at the time was 30 years old, and Pharaoh married him with Asenath, daughter of the Tophira, priest of On. It is said that when the minister died, Pharaoh married him with his wife Zulekha.
Allahu A'lam. This is not really correct. Go on.
And she came to be virgin because her husband was impotent.
Go on.
She gave birth to two of his sons who were called Manasseh.
No trace for that in the Quran or the Sunnah or the Sunnah sources. Nah.
And Ephraim. Yusuf consolidated his power on Egypt and ruled with justice, and all people loved him. Allah said, translating into English, and thus did we firmly establish Yusuf in the land with authority to do therein as he pleased. After coming out of the prison, he became the ruler of the land of Egypt. Wherever he went, he was held in esteem and honor. And translating the ayah into English, we bestow our mercy upon whomsoever we please, and we leave not to waste the reward of the good doers, and certainly the reward of the hereafter is better for those who believe and are always pious. No. It is also said that Qitfir, the husband of Zulaykha, had died, so the king appointed Yusuf in his place and married Zulaykha with him.
No, we don't know that Yusuf married that woman. No.
Ibn Ishaq said that the king Walid ibn Rayyan converted to Islam on the hand of Yusuf.
Allahu A'lam. All of that we don't have a trace for it. What also we could add here, Yusuf alayhi salam, why did he ask to be the one who's the minister for the savings and the store of the treasury, basically? He knows that there will be famine, according to the interpretation. This famine will strike not just Egypt, strike the lands around. That means the brothers of his, Yusuf alayhi salam's father as well, they will be with the same thing. So they will be in need of what? Food. So somehow they're going to come to him. So that's a plan from Yusuf alayhi salam to meet his brothers later on. Because he knows that these you're going to have no food. They're going to come to Egypt to ask for food. And he is the only one who had stored it, because he knows from this 7 years we're going to be planting. And after that there will be no rain. So he's already planned everything. So these people, when they are in famine and hunger, they will come to him. And that's how we're going to plan to meet Yusuf alayhi salam. And Yusuf will see how he had planned as well to get his brother, youngest one. And then after that he had also conveyed to them that what you've done to Yusuf alayhi salam. Then they realized that he's Yusuf and how he forgave them. And then he asked for father and mother to come. All of that inshallah to be discussed, be there in the next 2 classes. If you have any questions, you know what we've heard. The last title is going to be Joseph's brothers in Egypt. Joseph's brothers, that means Yusuf's brother coming to Yusuf alayhi salam in Egypt to ask for help. Now, Fadl.
You mentioned regarding not to be a leader. Is that a specific type of leader?
When we say the leader here, that means the imam, that means the leadership. As in, you are in charge of community. Like the charge of a trustee. You are in charge of something. Okay, the leader who's in charge of people, that's the one. Imam. Okay? But if you are an engineer, for example, and you're asking for to be an engineer or general manager, that's different. You're in charge of people. So these people, you only ask if you're fit. And you have to, when you ask as well, you have to make sure that you are perfecting what you've asked for when you've been positioned and trusted with. Now, Father.
So if you're applying for a job as a manager or higher,
that's what I just said. I've answered the question while you are putting your hands up. No. So the leadership is different. Okay. Even at work, in the job as well, you're asking because you've been qualified for that job, isn't it? You're qualified. And they're going to give you a job. So if you are an engineer and this company employs everything, like they've got engineer, got section for medicine, so it's not fit for them to put you as a doctor and you are not a doctor. You say, no, I'm not fit for that, I'm fit for this. An engineer, so you're asking for your job. But when you are in job as well, you might be promoted to be like the general manager. Okay. So if you see yourself to be the general manager, you know that the outcome of that you're going to be in charge of lots of things. If you're fit for it, there's no problem, but it'd be better for you to be given that. So if there's justice system, they will see that you are the one who's you are the one who's fit for that. Abu Hanifa was not really accepted to be a judge. A judge is different. And the judge will be questioned, and the Prophet said the judge are 3. 2 in hellfire and 1 in paradise. That's why he's scared. No. Follow.
Sheikh, is there any hadith the Prophet said not to take Islamic position within government?
Is there hadith to be Islamic position, not to take Islamic position, to take a position in Islamic? Later on, later on, Prophet said, when after the Muslims countries are not going to be abided by Islam properly, so don't be a soldier, don't be a person who's in charge of the treasury. لا تكون شرطيا ولا خازنا. You understand? Because of the things are going to change, and in your name they will be doing things which are haram. If you are a soldier, they're going to ask you to shave your beard. But it doesn't mean that if you are in a Muslim country where the army is mashallah, like if you are in Saudi Arabia, it's good to be an army man. Because you're going to be what? With your beard and al-sunnah and everything. But in a different country, first thing you're going to be what? Shaving. And this is, I don't know for how long in Saudi Arabia it's going to be the case. I don't know how long. It's coming very quickly. What's happening now, there's a lot of change in there. Okay? Very quick. There are racing at the beginning of the road that we are at the end of it. Racing towards us. To compete now. They're competing in the corruption. Allah musta'an. Allah musta'an. We never heard, how these people had dared themselves to go and put bombs into, the fuel. That is a dangerous thing that's happening. It never happened before. It's not Iran, of course. It's something else more than that. If you study it properly, then you know what I'm talking about. This is a threat. This is from the border of Yemen, more than 700 kilometers, about 600 miles or 500 miles. You can't have drones 500 miles traveling, mashallah. Huh? Drones have 500 miles with battery, mashallah, and the precision of it. Which field Iran doesn't have that technology. So to have this is a threat, this is a warning. So what's coming in Allah Musta'an. Now, Fadl.
Were the people in Yusuf Ali's time monotheistic?
At the time of Yusuf, sorry? Yusuf Alayhi Salam? People? They're not monotheistic, no.
Why didn't he call them to the oneness of Allah? Or did he call them to the oneness of Allah?
Of course he called them the oneness of Allah. That's why he called the two guys in the prison to the oneness of Allah. But always the Arabs, as I said, is short. You remember? They're not going to go in detail. So Allah, Yusuf Alayhi Salam, basically, also in this, would grab the best of opportunities to give the da'wah, not at any time. So these people, they have seen him in what? Ibadah. They liked him so much. He didn't approach them yet for the preaching. Only when they were in what? In need of interpretation. Okay, you need interpretation. You've seen me that, do everything. MashaAllah. And he told about himself. I could tell you about the food. If you remember, we said about the food before it comes, or I'll interpret the dream for you before the food comes in. Remember that? So he said, he grabbed this opportunity because he knows that they are waiting for his interpretation. So they're all ears. So he gave them the da'wah. Of course, he will give them the da'wah. Yusuf Alayhi Salam, but the Quran will not speak about everything in details. Okay? Of course. No. But we know that they are not Muslims. They were not believers. Now, from Yusuf Alayhi Salam we learn a lot. That Yusuf Alayhi Salam was employed in a non-Muslim country. Now,
at the beginning you said that the drink bearer, he was made to forget. If someone makes an oath on something which they've forgotten, are they to blame for this, or?
Somebody made an oath and he forgot, there's no blame on him, inshallah. There's no blame on him. By Allah, I'm going to come to your house. And I didn't. If it's deliberate, I have to expiate. If it's not deliberate, I don't expiate because I forgot. Now,
can we use the example of Yusuf Alayhi Salam working for a non-Muslim king and helping him to refute the takfiris who say, the king is this and whoever works for him is a kafir, and
so you're imagining scenario, no?
So that they say the king doesn't rule by the laws of Allah, so he's a kafir, whoever works for him is a kafir, the shofar and so forth. But here we find Yusuf Alayhi Salam, who's a Muslim, and he's working for a king who's...
Yeah, he's in charge of the ministry of the budget, treasury. So
can we use that against them as an ammunition against those statements?
Against the statement of who? The
takfiri?
takfiri? Yes, you could use that, as I said. See, remember, the takfiri, they say it's halal to go and con non-Muslims. We are in a non-Muslim land, not haram. Let's take their money and let's... Look at Yusuf somehow was truthful in his interpretation to them and all of that. You could use all of this, of course. Yes, you could use that. And you could say as well that the person, if he is in a non-Muslim country, okay, and he is to be in a position where he will not be compromising his religion, but he will do a lot of good, no problem. Because if he cannot be compromising his religion, it's not right. Like a member of parliament, he's going to be compromising his deen. He's going to be doing things which are not with his deen. Okay, but if it's to do with, like for example, something that is not compromising his deen, like the treasury here, and he's making things with halal food and all of that, mashallah, tabarakallah. Now, tafadhal.
Chef, So Prophet ﷺ praised Yusuf ﷺ for his patience. For his patience. Prophet ﷺ praised
praise it for patience, yeah.
So every quality, does our Prophet have the best quality over all the other prophets as well, i.e. patience or any other quality?
I mean, you're asking, is there any prophets who are better than other prophets with their qualities?
All the qualities, our Prophet has the best qualities that precedes all the other prophets' qualities. Okay, what I mean. So, for example, patience. When the Prophet said, praised Yusuf's patience, our Muhammad's patience is better than Yusuf's patience.
Okay.
Okay.
It's not really correct to start making comparison like this. We know that in totality, the Prophet Muhammad is the best. Yet when we enter Jannah, we'll have no quality that has been mentioned from the Prophet. We'll enter with the age of Isa, with the height of Adam, with the face of Yusuf, with the heart of Ayyub. Do you understand that? Yusuf is the most beautiful. Adam is the most tallest. And Isa he was lifted up when he was in his youth, 33. And Ayyub had the best heart. Okay? But better than them, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he's the one who the first who can enter Jannah. No one will enter Jannah before him. And he's the one who will intercede for the Jannah to be open. Now, Fadal.
Sheikh, you know when Zuleika confirms that she admitted saying
wrong, yeah.
Yeah, and she also claims in there that my Lord is forgiving and merciful. Does that mean she accepted Islam at that time or believed in the Lord of Yusuf?
A person who is saying like this, it doesn't mean he's a Muslim. Even the disbelievers say sometimes, I'm a sinner, I hope that God forgive me. People who are disbelievers say, bless you, when you sneeze, isn't it? But they're still disbelievers. Okay? So being an honest or being admitting that God and being, even Shaitan, he said, Inni akhafullah. Iblis, I'm scared of Allah. That's why I became a Muslim. Or embrace Islam. No, he did not. Same thing. So it doesn't mean, but it's a good point that you're bringing. Now, Fadal.
Regarding the dream, Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu interpreted it. And the Prophet ﷺ said, that he won't tell him. How do you understand that with the principle that he always clarifies?
Say that again.
Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu, he made the interpretation that he was wrong in some and right in some. The Prophet ﷺ said, I won't tell you what you're wrong in. But isn't it a principle that he would clarify the errors?
Now this clarification of the errors of the Prophet ﷺ, which is something that is essential to be clarified. And scholars said regarding this issue that the dream has already been interpreted. Correction on that will not affect it. Do you understand that? Khalas. Prophet said the dream is in the leg of a bird. Wherever you interpret it, it will land. So if I've gone to a person who is not good in interpretation and interpret my good dream into a wrong, rubbish interpretation, it's too late for me to go to somebody else. Can you fix that for me? Okay, that's why he told them, I'm not going to tell you. Because the guy is there listening. I'm not going to tell you what is your wrong. Because the interpretation is finished now. Okay? Now, if something's essential, the Prophet will tell him, of course. Right. Any other questions? Umar, which question? Lots?
No, I just came in mind with one question that basically if some bad guy come to you and ask, interpretation of dream, you just give him any rubbish interpretation?
No, don't give him. I like that. We miss your question like this. Is it any person who comes to you as bad and he gives you a good dream like he has seen an adhan and give him a rubbish interpretation? That rubbish interpretation is maybe a warning to him. I could see that you're gonna be a thief, and you're going to have your hands cut off. Maybe this will not take place. It's not going to be 100% going to take place. But I'm telling you that you seeing yourself having a then, it doesn't mean you are a holy man and you are a wicked, evil person. So you're trying to use this dream for the sake of what? Da'wah to him. So that doesn't mean when Ibn Sirin interpreted that to him, it's going to take place and his hand's going to cut off. No. But most likely. But I'm telling you that if you are a bad man and a thief, and you see yourself making an adhan, it doesn't mean making you, mashallah, a righteous man and you are a thief. Okay? So there are lots of people, like, for example, they came to Imam Ahmad. We see you in Jannah, we see you with the Prophet, and we see you. Alhamdulillah. He said, Sahl ibn Salama, well-known person who is with the sword. Okay? People used to see dreams for him that, mashallah, we see you with the Prophet in Jannah. I used to kill people. Okay? How can you kill people for no reason and you're going to be seen? So basically, the vision of a person to a believer, tasurruh, meaning it will please him. Wala tadurruh, it will not harm him if he's a believer. So if somebody is a believer and you give a wrong interpretation, it will not harm him. And also, wala taghurruh, should not deceive him. For example, Umar, I've seen you online last night with the Prophet of Allah, and around you all the prophets. You shouldn't be now deceived. MashaAllah, I'm a mu'min. I am Shaykh al-Khalas, I'm a companion of Sahabi. Okay, you should not be deceived for that. It should be please you. You are pleased, alhamdulillah, say alhamdulillah. Khair, alhamdulillah, jazakallah khair. Okay, it's a good thing. Now, one person, number of times he comes to me, so me and you, wallahi, had a car, we are shooting enemies. Wallahi. And he's a sheikh. Shooting enemies and number of times. Shooting enemies and we are hiding on the enemies. I said, you're sure you didn't watch a movie the night before or something? Shooting and all of that. I interpreted, inshallah, Ahl al-Bid'ah and all of that. This is how my interpretation for it. But I'm saying, if that vision was given to the MR5, I'm going to be in trouble. See, there's a proof that you're a terrorist, a dream. طيب. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت